Hi folks, it's Owen here and we're doing another bits and pieces video today. It has been a while. So today's video isn't necessarily actually console related initially. Rather, I need to fix some tools for a project that I want to do. My theory being that this will be the first of, I presume to be 3 videos. The nature of this one is I have a vacuum desoldering gun, one of these things that you can get fairly cheap off AliExpress, and it generally does a good job, except the heating element died. I've ordered a new element. I've actually had this for quite a while, literally months, and I'm only just getting around to doing this now while I've got a bit of time up my sleeve. So these elements are essentially a ceramic heating core. 2 of these wires are for the thermocouple to sense the temperature, and the other 2 are to supply power to the heating element. Important disclaimer before I continue. These are AC powered devices, and as such, this is an entertainment video and not to be considered for educational purposes. I intend on taking zero responsibility if you watch this video and then cause any damage to yourself, your equipment, or others, or your property. Don't come blaming me. Be a big boy and do it right or leave it alone. As an additional precaution, I have made certain that this thing is not plugged into any sockets at all, so there's no risk of me coming across an unexpected AC voltage. Because it's not the most exciting thing, I've already taken the screws out. Let's crack this boy open. Okay. In terms of pieces, we've got a reservoir here for the captured solder to get sucked into, diaphragm vacuum pump and a motor to power it, and here's our culprit, the heating element. Now, one thing I do need to mention that has caught a couple of the chaps out that I watched their videos on replacing the elements in theirs, the wires that we have for the heating element here, where they attach to the circuit board, it appears that it might be double-sided but not through-hole plated. So we need to be certain to solder on both sides to get a good connection. The faulty connections was manifesting as trouble of the sort of thermoregulation control circuitry, not shutting things off as expected. So I guess it was getting a bad read of the thermocouple. It does appear as though there is an additional screw I need to remove to get this element out, just on the other side of the case here. Pull that out. There is also an earth attachment screw on the bottom of the element. That'll be something we need to make certain that we reattach. There it is on the new unit. Before I go much further, I should probably remove the actual nozzle tip. Other chaps I watched, their replacements came with cleaning rods to go through the tips. And of course the tool comes with cleaning rods as well, which I think I lost a long time ago. My replacement element does not seem to have those. Okay, let's try and remove this. That was reasonably tight. I guess the tip is, by its very nature, it's going to go through a bunch of heating and cooling cycles. And that is really, really badly clogged. You can see that in the phone camera view here, that I really should have cleaned that out. So that's going to be a challenge. I'm hoping we'll be able to at least replace the element, get it heating again, and then it should be fairly straightforward to clean that out once the tip is actually hot and that solder melts. That is definitely going to be a problem that we need to deal with as well. Let's turn the soldering iron on. And while that's heating up, we will undo the earth screw of the old element. We also need to remove this this black piece from the element, and it looks like we need to pull these wires through the gap in the side of that black component. I'm going to call it a bracket to be able to free the element. We'll use the old faithful manual solder pump to get that out. Ironically, having a desoldering gun would make desoldering this a little bit easier, but here we are. I'm going to use the screwdriver to remove the circuit board just to manipulate it a little easier for desoldering. now that I've got the board removed, I should be able to just pull the wires through as I heat up the pads. 1, 2. The heat doesn't seem to transfer all the way through while trying to desolder these, indicating that, yeah, they're probably double-sided circuit boards, but not through-hole plated. Sometimes through-hole plated can be a bit of a curse as well. Okay, that's being an absolute pain. Let's add a little bit more solder back to it. Help the heat transfer all the way through, and it's free. So now let's pull this free. Okay. We should now just be able to... Okay, there is... That piece needs to come free. Oh, this tube is definitely clogged. I think I did a bad job of maintaining this, cleaning the nozzle out. Oh no, I can... I'm not going to be able to demonstrate it, but I can see light through there, so that's actually clear. That does surprise me. Frustratingly, this appears to have red and a green wire instead of a blue and red wire. Now, I can't imagine why the heating element would be polarized, meaning needing the voltages to be connected up into a certain order. And I'm also not sure whether the heating element is driven directly by AC or DC. And if it's the former, then the order of connection wouldn't really matter. We just need to make sure we plug the elements back in, solder the elements back into where they came from. And the same thing with the white wires for the thermocouple connection. So the white wires were on the left as I look down on the board. Let's quickly just check the length of these wires. There seems to be... Okay, mine are good. Other folks seem to think that theirs were longer than necessary. The little tail bits are definitely longer than they probably need to be. Before we do anything else, actually, let's make certain that we get these holes nice and clear of solder. So we'll get the pump back onto that. With those clear, we should now be able to thread our element back through. I'll need to reassemble this through here. So really should have paid a bit more attention about exactly how that was put together. I believe that's correct. Let's just put this bracket collar, keep changing its name, but we'll reassemble that. That's those wires done. Let's put the tip back on. I didn't mind doing it on the old one because it was being taken out, but I don't want to go crushing this main sort of barrel area with these pliers because there should be a ceramic heating core within that. Seal on the back of the element again. That's before it's forgotten. We should also reattach the earth wire, or ground wire, whichever you want to call it. Ah, okay, I was thinking that when I put the earth screw in, it wasn't really gripping at the end of travel. It was sort of like skipping through and becoming loose, and didn't like that. It's because it wasn't the correct screw. Okay, that's gone on a lot better now. It's actually tight. Just push that seal to line it up with the gaps in the case just a bit. And let's put the screw back in on the other side. So now that our element is sort of secured back into the case, push these wires down. Switch is probably going to pop up again. So we want the white wires for the thermocouple, the element, whichever. Ooh. The thermocouple probably needs to be polarized. That would be my guess. Because thermocouples create a voltage to indicate the temperature. And that voltage being positive or negative would mean things, right? Unless the circuitry can take the absolute voltage equivalent. Oh dear. I guess if we have an issue there, it'll probably manifest with temperature just being completely whack. I had to just double check the footage that I've been capturing on my phone to confirm that the coloring on the original was green. From the left, as we look down, was green, red, white, white. And of course, we have a blue wire instead of a green one, so I'm going to substitute that in. Get these white suckers through first. Okay, so we'll solder the back sides first to keep everything in place, and then we'll flip it over and remember to solder the other side. Alright, now we'll just give them a quick touch on this side here. It is a bit tricky to get in there without actually fully removing the board, but I think I can manage it. I just need to touch it a little with some hot solder. Okay, and one more. Now we'll trim the excess off the leads and then reassemble this enough to plug it in. Okay, we will put the screws to hold the circuit board in place back in place. The knob for the temperature control has fallen out, which means that exactly where it should be on the scale theoretically has been lost, but I have turned it all the way in its clockwise position, which I don't know, but I think that's going to be the hottest, and we will see if we can line that up with the numbers. Okay, most clockwise position lines us up with the highest temperature value. That seems like it'd be the correct way to go. Just for safety reasons, to essentially add some distance between me and anything potentially AC, before I plug this back in and turn it on to see if we've successfully done the replacement, I will put the shell, close the shell up. Just a bit of a push to get the wires out of the way of this corner. Actually, there is an additional safety measure I want to do, is I want to get my multimeter with continuity tester and ensure that the outer metallic case of the element and the earth pin on the plug to go into the wall socket actually are connected properly. Remember to always click the tongs. Earth lead. Okay, well that's the element itself. Yeah, there's an oxide layer on the heating element, at the tip of the heating element, of course. Sounds like we've got connectivity and our earth should be connected up correctly. Let's put the case back on. Remembering, of course, that we need the trigger button. It's plugged into the wall now, but here in Australia, our wall sockets tend to have separate actual power switches because I'm not sure why anyone thinks it's a good idea to not have them. Anyway, I haven't turned it on yet. I just want to say that in case something goes horribly wrong and the footage drops out, I guess that means that the circuit breaker or the residual current device in my house's electrical system tripped. And that'd be... I mean, I'd rather it didn't, but I'd rather do that than I'd die through a shock. So again, don't go fucking with AC stuff at home because you watched this video and you got any ideas from me. Take responsibility of your own stuff. With that said, again, let's see if the rig capturing from this webcam goes down with the rest of the house power or if this just works. Cue the drum roll and... we have an LED. I'm seeing smoke. Think that's good because this, well, the element's definitely getting hot. What we need to see is it shutting off. That's gone off. And I've also got one of these guys, the little laser infrared thermometer. These are so much fun. I must admit, when I first got it, which I mostly use for cooking now, I was pointing it at all kinds of stuff. Oh, I also have a thermal camera. So let's give this a zap and see just how hot this is. Either I'm doing something wrong. Okay, I hold my hand a centimeter above that and I can feel the warmth. So it's definitely heating up. I guess the real test will be to desolder something. Our testing guinea pig can be this old Powell Mega Drive motherboard. Mostly reassembled. Turn it back on. Well, so far I'm happy that it hasn't tripped any of the circuit breakers in my house. The smoke has stopped, definitely radiating heat. So let's try and desolder. There's some SRAM chips on this Mega Drive motherboard. Let's give them a go. Yep, it's definitely sucking the solder up. There is a bit of a knack to learning how to use these things effectively. I have a console motherboard that you'll probably see at a later date where I kind of did some damage to it when I first got this gun. Well, that is definitely removing solder, so it's doing what it's supposed to, which is more than it was doing before I replaced the element. I'll turn that off. Okay, folks, there we have it. We have replaced the heating element in my S993A vacuum-powered desoldering gun. And it appears to be working a treat. So, as I mentioned earlier, I hope this is the first in what I presume will ultimately be a 3-part video series on something a little bit more special. Stay tuned to the channel, of course, and plenty of other stuff to check out. And again, this video was for entertainment purposes only. Please don't go following anything that I did here. I'm definitely not an expert, and always remember that AC or mains power is not a joke, and it can and will kill you if you disrespect it. And with that, I'm off. See you in the next one.